Will Levis. This man right here put on an absolute show last night in the Titans versus Dolphins game, and we have to talk about that and everything that surrounded the Titans win and an absolute amazing comeback on prime time. Everybody saw that, and to quote Will Levis, America, I hope you liked what you saw. Let's congratulate Will Levis, and if you love him and you like what he's seen and you think Will Levis is the future of this team, then type his jersey number 8. I want to see the 8s flood in the comment section because, listen, Will Levis is him, and it's time we start talking about what a quarterback he can be in the NFL. We're glad you chose to take some time out today and join us right here on Titans Today. I'm your host, Jay Sanders, and without further ado, let's start talking about Will Levis because I'm telling you, this guy is something else. He was supposed to be a top 10 draft pick. In fact, supposed to be a top 5 draft pick. At one point, he was labeled as Mel Kiper's number 1 pick. Guy fell in the second round right here to the Titans, and last night showed exactly why he is the quarterback of the future here in Tennessee and the right reason that he was placed above Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill would not have done what Will Levis did last night. 23 of 38, 327, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. The interception wasn't great, I will give him that. But again, that's early, and he is a rookie. But 327 from a rookie is absolutely exceptional, especially a primetime game. He's only played in one other primetime game. That was the Thursday night game against the Steelers. That didn't go very well on that last second drive. This time, he made it work, and overall, it just looked a lot more comfortable. And you could tell, as soon as he had that last little run with Derrick Henry to put them on top, he was more fired up than I think I've seen a football player on a field in years. Walking off the field, you could feel the energy on the Titans sideline just watching on the screen. And I'm telling you, if you haven't bought into Will Levis yet, you haven't bought into what exactly Will Levis has done, well, then it's time for you to start respecting him. It's time to show that Will Levis is not only going to be the quarterback here in Tennessee for hopefully a long time, but he is the guy who is probably or potentially going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. This guy has been absolutely amazing, and I want to go back to that final couple drives because I mentioned this was a primetime game. The last time he was on primetime also had a chance to go down the field and score a game-winning drive. Well, guess what? He didn't do it that time. Threw an interception. This time, those final 2 drives, 434 in regulation, 9 for 11, 152. He had 2 touchdown drives. One of them he threw. The other one, Derrick Henry rushed off the left side, and a 2-point conversion that he threw to Nick Westbrook-Ikine. This guy was exceptional in crunch time. Everybody thought the Titans were down. Oh, they're down 14. Game over. Like, there it is. The Dolphins offense came to play. They shot themselves in the foot. Special teams comes back to bite. Another fumble. Oh, my gosh, this is so bad. But yet, Will Levis continued to play. This offense continued to play, and they ultimately got the win. 327 yards for Will Levis. Let's go look at that again because there's only been, well, let's see. Will Levis, the 320-plus yards quarterback versus the Dolphins. Now, he is at the top of the list because he's the most recent one to throw 320-plus versus the Dolphins. But there should be others, right? I mean, the Dolphins' defense is that good. So, who'd they play in? Oh, that's right, nobody. Nobody has thrown 320 yards versus the Dolphins. And if you think that maybe be a little bit insignificant, let me just point out the quarterbacks that this Dolphins defense, who, by the way, was not good at the beginning of the season without Jalen Ramsey. Look at who they played. Mahomes they played without. Justin Herbert was the first game of the year. They was playing with him without Jalen Ramsey. Josh Allen before Jalen Ramsey was back. And yet, guess what? These 3 guys, they're all heralded as some of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL, and Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, their arms are insane. They could not get 320 against the Miami Dolphins defense, but Will Levis could. And he got 150 of it on the last 2 drives. This guy is insane, and he's doing things that aren't done in the NFL. And this is more of a team thing than anything else. This is something that is credit to Mike Vrabel and the way he handled the last couple minutes. This is Will Levis. This is even Derrick Henry. This is DeAndre Hopkins. Everybody, even the defense, teams that were down 14 with under 3 minutes to go were 0-767. I want you to take a minute to think how many games that is. It's been since 2016, the last time a team was down 14 or 3 minutes that one, and then proceeded to win the game. The Titans did that last night. Things are being done in Tennessee that you have not seen in a long time, and I think it's starting with Will Levis. But there's also another guy that I want to mention, and I don't want to start this conversation, but I think it has to be noted. Derrick Henry last night was outplayed by Tyjae Spears. The rushing yards were a little bit more for Derrick, but he had 10 more carries. It seemed like every time he got the ball, it was a 2-yard rush. If you were joining us for our watch party yesterday, every time Derrick got the ball, it was, 2 yards. There's 2 yards. Now, he did get 2 touchdowns. Obviously, when you get close to the end zone, Derrick Henry is the best option, and he will always bounce it in. But at the same time, 89 receiving yards for Tyjae Spears. That is absolutely insane. He had a couple of good catches in those final 2 drives. The rushing yards were there around 29 yards, but 2 touchdowns for Derrick Henry, obviously, is a good thing. So I have to ask the question, because I saw this a lot on Twitter. Are we witnessing the Spears takeover right now? Are we seeing him come in and say, listen, you drafted me out of Tulane. I'm ready to go now? If you think so, then type Y for yes. Or if you think no, that's silly, then type in for no. I will say this. The 2023 draft class has been insane. And whether you think Tyjae is taking over or not, I think in my mind, they're probably a good combination. The 2023 draft class that Rand Carthon did is absolutely exceptional. Peter Skoronski started last night, played pretty decent, had some times where he missed his block, but at the same time, he's still a rookie offensive lineman and an offensive line that stinks. Will Levis, we saw what he did last night. Tyjae Spears just showed you what he did. Josh Wiley, who has been pretty good, he was out last night with an injury, and then Okonkwo kind of filled in there. Jalen Duncan, he's come on with injuries on the offensive line and played well. And then also, obviously, Colton Dowell, haven't seen much of him being that he's later round draft pick. But if you look picks 1 through about 5 right there, all 5 of those guys have been really, really good. I'm going to be honest. Rand Carthon cooked with this draft class. He went in there and said, listen, we have the 11th pick overall. I'm going to go get an offensive lineman that I like. I'm going to get a quarterback that was supposed to be a top 10 pick. And I'm going to get a running back who wasn't in a Power 5. But I'm telling you, I see something special in him, and it has paid off in full already. And we are in year 1. The growth that we're going to see from Skoronski, especially with hopefully some offensive line help in the offseason, the growth that we're already witnessing from Will Levis. Tyjae Spears, he has been a playmaker since pretty much the London game. I mean, that's how much we've been talking about Tyjae. This is such an exciting team, and I'm telling you, you got to go watch them. And if you're going to go watch them, make sure you use GameTime. GameTime is the sponsor of today's show here on Titans Today. I'm telling you, it's the only place I go to get my tickets for not just sports, but they have music, they got comedy, they got theater. Really, any event in your area, guess what? They have you covered. Now, you shouldn't have to worry about buying tickets to your next big event. And so GameTime, well, guess what? They're going to give you the peace of mind when buying tickets with their best price guarantee. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets because they have last-minute ticket deals, flash deals, and zone deals. I'm telling you, this app is super user-friendly, and GameTime is also obsessed with finding ways to save you money. I mentioned that zone deal. So all you do, you pick a section, and then GameTime is going to pick you a row and seats, and you're going to save an average of 18%. Their app, again, super user-friendly. It tells you exactly what to do. You can see right there. The last couple games for the Titans, I'm telling you, those aren't that expensive in GameTime. They got some good deals. Go in there, and you can go watch another Titans game before the season is up. Go watch Will Levis cook himself. Plus, you get a nice view of your seat before you even get to the stadium. It's really, really nice. Plus, you saw those prices. You can get $20 off on top of that. If you use code TITANSCHAT, all you got to do, download the app, and then go to the redeem code section and put in that code TITANSCHAT. So do me a favor and do yourself a favor. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use that code TITANSCHAT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create that account and redeem code TITANSCHAT, TITANSCHAT, no spaces, for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last-minute tickets at the lowest price guarantee. Let's give some props to the defense, man. They were absolutely exceptional last night. Now, the defense only allowed Miami to 20 points, the other 7 coming off that pick 6 that Levis threw early in the game. So I'm going to say they were held to 20. And 20 is still not all their fault. If we look at last night's game, there was a lot of other factors that kind of attributed to them giving up even 20. So first of all, 0 points in the first half. They also blocked a field goal. They were absolutely insane. And the big thing, I say they allowed 20 points, taking off the interception. But they also had 2 drives that began inside the 15-yard line in that last half of the game in the fourth quarter. I mean, the fumble by Derrick Henry, the fumble on special teams, that's not the defense's fault. Like, obviously, you expect them to be great, and the red zone defense has been exceptional. But if you look at the first half, when the defense got to the red zone then, they had a fumble that they scooped up from Tua. They had a stop. I mean, it was exceptional. It were absolutely crazy. At one point, there were 3 drives in the red zone for the Dolphins, and they only got 3 points. That was it. I mean, this defense needs to be known, and I think there's one guy that stands out above the rest, and that was Harold Landry, the linebacker from Boston College who played really, really well. 5 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, but the big thing, he had a sack parade. 3 sacks. 3. Not 1, not 2, 3. Jeffrey Simmons out of the game. Harold Landry in the linebacker spot steps up. I'm telling you, this team and this defense was excited to be there last night, and I think you can finally feel kind of what we've been talking about here on Titans Today. There is a good vibe to this team. It just hasn't been able to be shown on the field. And you thought after that fumble, it was going to be the same thing. But guess what? The defense stepped up. The offense stepped up. And everything come together. A 3-and-out after the Titans scored their touchdown to make it a now 6-point game after that 2-point conversion. Then they had 6 plays. That's all it took. 6 plays for them to take out the Dolphins, this stifling Dolphins offense, and then give the ball back to Will Levis to knee the ball out. I love this defense, and I think they played absolutely phenomenal. I want you to rate this defense's performance again in last night's game. If you give it an A, well, A. B, C, D, or F. You can kind of see the grading scale as it goes. So I want you to rate this performance for me on how you think the Titans defense played against the Miami Dolphins offense. I'm going to give it a B+. And the reason it's not an A is not necessarily their fault, but they did allow 20 points. So I just don't think I can necessarily give them an A. But B+ is absolutely exceptional. Obviously, Tua, or rather Tyreek, was out of that game for a little bit of a portion of it, so that helps a lot. But I think B+ is a solid grade. There was a couple missed assignments, blown coverages, and maybe I am a hard grader, and maybe here and there offense kind of attributed to 20 of those points. But still, B+ I think is still a very good grade. One last thing I do want to mention before we go away here on the show is that Treylon Burks actually outsnapped DeAndre Hopkins last night. The only difference is Burks had 6 yards, and DeAndre Hopkins had 124 yards. I kind of like the way Jake said this. Let that sink in. Treylon Burks was on the field more often than DeAndre Hopkins, and yet had 115 plus less yards than DeAndre Hopkins. Now, I think this might be a little bit of load management in terms of keeping DeAndre safe, keeping his legs, fresh and ready. And obviously the back half of the season, you're hoping that maybe next year you can have a really good shot to maybe make it to the playoffs. I mean, right now you still have a shot, but at the same time, it's going to be a tough road ahead. But I think the bigger thing around this is not the load management. It's not that, but Burks is playing. I mean, he's been injured so much this season. The fact that he was on the field last night for a majority of the snaps was pretty nice to see. And I think overall it was a good thing to have him out there. Now, Burks came in last year, so certainly isn't a part of Rand Carthon's players he brought in. But there is something that I thought was interesting on Twitter. If you look at the Titans GMs over the past couple of years and look at the yardage of the players that they have brought in, via draft, via free agents, signings, trades, whatever. As of right now, obviously Robinson had more games than Rand Carthon. 606 yards from the players that Rand has brought in. 131 yards was all that John Robinson got. J-Rob was not exactly it, and I think Rand Carthon is showing, man, maybe I might be. You have to trust the Titans right now. I know that exactly this year wasn't what we were expecting, and you thought Tannehill might be better, you thought this or that, but at the same time, Carthon and Vrabel are setting this team up for success for a long run, not just now. And I'm excited for what they have, not just this year, but in the coming years. I mean, I mentioned it. He had that amazing draft class with the 11th pick. That's around the area the Titans are probably looking at if they win a couple of these games going down the stretch. Could he do it again? Could he have another acceptable draft class? I think he could. Well, we appreciate you watching. If you're excited about the Titans, you want to know more about Tennessee, you want to be involved with this Titans fan base, well, hit that subscribe button. We're talking Titans 4 to 5 times a week, sometimes every single day of the week. And on top of which, we got watch parties. We got a bunch of content here for you on Titans Today. Plus, it's a community of Titans fans, and we'd really appreciate it if you join. But for now, Titans fans, as always, tighten up!